Welcome everyone. The topic for the day is read the people and lead the people. What do you want to read in the people? The aspirations thereof, the motivation that the people would be having for, and the various drive and the need that people have. If you can read these things, these characteristics of people, it becomes very easy for you to lead the people altogether. And that is what we are going to learn around here in this presentation. Remember, first and foremost thing about our own barriers as a leader, what are the things that we need to prepare ourselves for? First thing is to read people by removing the barrier that keep us from accurately reading and at times misrepresenting the people. The two barriers are our very own prejudices and our very own projections. This is the two things that we need to remove: the prejudices, the projection, or the thought process that we belong to. When people think of prejudices, mostly racial kind comes into the mind. Yes, it is. Anytime you make an opinion, whether it's positive, whether it's negative, and probably this is the biasness that comes around, that creeps around without the knowledge or examination of the fact. So it might be a myth altogether. It might be a scenario which you have felt, heard, or believed so, but you have never experienced it firsthand, and that is where you get prejudiced, you get opinionated. Whenever you come with certain preconceived notion, will such as which is based on a race, color, political alignment, or sexual orientation, dressing sense, it taints your ability to read others. You get biased. You get uh, you have preconceived, preformed notions about the person. This is wrong. This should be desisted from. That is what one of the barriers is all about. It is the prejudices which we have already formed in our opinion in our own mind, and then the projection which comes around it. So prejudices can be from our own very fears, probably with the feeling that we are threatened, our own upbringing and the myriads of our other thing. And when I say myriad of other thing are the environment, the social media that you follow, or being prescribed, or being that has been you are being groomed out because there are certain bombardments of material that has been directed at to you, which attunes your feelings or probably numbs your feelings the way you want to go around it. Closely related to projection is is projection. Closely related to prejudices is projection. Once you get opinionated, it is the way you get yourself to behave as such. In 50s, Leon Festiger coined a phrase called cognitive dissonance, as in mental displacement altogether, or there is a haziness in your thought process altogether, which is a cloud that you form around it. Why? Because the human had tendency to close one's eye and minds to bring that are uncomfortable and undisturbing things we do not want to see, things we do not want to experience. We shield ourselves psychologically and mentally. We shield ourselves from such things and project on other issues which probably we are comfortable with it. So we don't want to face the harsh realities of life. For example, a parent noticing a child slipping in grades. What does it mean? Because of the utmost love that the parents has for the child, their own offspring, they often ignore such kind of telltale signs that comes around it. Often this can be portrayed or this can be augmented by late homecoming, might often try to shrug it off to puberty, probably newfound love, hormonal imbalance, whatever you go around it. It can be anything ascribed to any of the situational factors, but not onto their child. So their parents are unwilling to accept. This is what our projections about it. Let us understand the objectivity. The key to effectively reading people is to be completely objective. This is what we need to go around it. Overcoming our biasness, our prejudices, our projections allow us to completely be detached sentimentally. No emotions are allowed to cloud our judgment. The last important step is learning to be patient. This is what we love to go around it. We don't fail to see the big picture, have the clear cut vision in focus. Absolutely, that is what we're going to go around it. See, and do not narrow it down. Do not narrow their focus altogether. This is what should be going around it. Please understand, if you look into it, this is what exactly comes around it is all about it. It's the focus that comes around absolutely on the basis. So we need to be objective in our evaluations of the situation or the condition that prevails, that is in front of us. So the key to be effectively reading people is to be completely objective. Definitely yes. Overcome our biasness, our prejudices, our projections. This will not, this do not and should not allow to cloud our judgment. The last important step is to be patient. That is what we look at. Take time to give reactions. Do not give a knee-jerk reaction. If you don't fail to see the big picture, that means there are some same thing that is learning to read people. It's the same thing. If you don't fail to see the big picture, if you always see the big picture, you will automatically understand why people are behaving in a particular fashion. As you learn the techniques to interpret the body language of the people, the environment, resist the urge to jump into conclusion. Do not make silos in your mind altogether. Do not categorize any event, any sort of people, any sort of circumstances into a particular category that you might have preconceived notions altogether. Be realistic, be in the present. As on when on happens, please bear with it, have patience and rationally deal with it. The idea has to be very logical in your when you deal such thing. For example, when you think they are defensive because they have their arm folded, this is something which probably many of us think so. Maybe they are sitting under a air conditioned vent and they are simply feeling cold. So you cannot feel the being cold and is equal to being defensive. That is not the true criteria. So arm folded doesn't always mean that a person is defensive or is shielding certain of the facts. Simply put forward, you can be objective and feel that the temperature in the room is a bit on the lower end. So are they lying because they are fidgeting or seems nervous altogether? Well, possibly they need to go to the bathroom in real bad, and that is the reason why they are fidgeting. Possibly they are very much uncomfortable expecting a phone call, or they want to. There is an urge to make a phone call altogether. Well, because psychologically they must be present elsewhere and expecting an event of their life, probably of a smaller importance, and they are worried upon it. They want to be in two different situations. As a result, they are fidgeting. It is not the case that they are supposed to lie all around it. So reading people is as much as a science as it is an art. The science deals with the understanding and of the mechanics and the principles involved in people reading. For example, when you study all cold hard facts about mannerism, when a certain tone of voice might suggest how the context of the person environment may influence their behavior, this is what we need to go around it. Once the principles are understood, open up the right brain. That part of yourself does not think in terms of a linear thought, words, or mathematics, but instead of a pattern, colors, and abstract. This is art. This is pure art in the truest of the form. Those who are successful at combining the two, becoming amazing people readers, is what, if we can have the combination of science and arts, it is all positive for the person to read people, and it will be very difficult to beat that person because he or she is objectively analyzing and coming to a conclusion, treating everything rationally, thinking it out logically, patiently, and then coming up with a reactions or subsequent events. So there is no replacement for practice. This is something which we need to understand as far as people readings are concerned. You could read every book, all books in the libraries of the world, in terms of body language, in terms of vocal interpretation, in terms of lie detection test, and still not be a great reader of people. You have to practice it. You must put up with a passion to put into the work. And remember, the people who can read people, the person who can read people will be the successful person in his or her life, be it the personal life or a professional life. As you practice these techniques, adopt a mindset that the passion will naturally develop, and many of the things will become instinctual. Actually, trying to tell you every now and then, this is what you need to keep it a point. Go around it. Please, again, I'm trying to tell you to you what 200 specific tells about your behavior, vocal attributes, vociferous sound, the tone, the pitch, and the environment. You are on a way to study them correctly and predict their behaviors in subsequent amount of time. So success, if success with this is your goal, then it is important to learn to see the pattern. What do you need to see? A pattern, a trend, and things like that, how a person is going to behave in a particular situation. I have told you, given you a situation altogether with respect to when a person is interacting with a client, or when the person is coming at the fag end of the month where the deadline is coming very closer, and you will see there are changes, there are patterns of behavior, there are tendencies that the person is going to go around it again from the baseline projected, and probably you will able to predict how a person is going to behave in a different situation altogether. So let us understand the first impression. What do you read by the first impression? First, do not go for snap judgment. It's a too quick thing, and they realize with the thinnest of experiences that are mostly of unconscious nature. We the things lies we go for things lies because we have to, and we come to rely on that ability. Probably there are pressures on us to probably impress a person, take snap the opportunity that is provided at that point of time, because there's a lot of hidden problem out there. Please, this is what needs to understand. A lot of situations where careful attention to details on that very thin slice is there. So can we take a second or two and tell everything about a person? Probably very difficult. But these thin slices of experience which we draw conclusions are many times incorrect. This is what I've been trying to tell it to you. Control the blink response. What did I mean by blink response? The knee jerk reaction. Restrain your brain consciously at first. This is what you are going to go about it. Look for certain meaning behind the impression through the experiences. This blink responses will become accurate as we go with the passage of time. When you begin sizing them up, do not overlook anything. This is where you will begin to notice the smallest and the minutest of the details, the way that they talk, the way they walk, the way they comb their hair, the way they are managing their finger lengths, the body language, the clothes they wear. Ask, what is this telling me? What is this telling me? And everything, believe me, the attire of the person, the way the person carries himself or herself speaks loudly to you. The only thing is you have to read them correctly. They are giving you signals, but can you interpret those signals? Here can tell a lot of a person. In women, short stylish hair could denote somebody who is very creative, artistic, or is expressive, because maintaining a style here is expensive. It may signify wealth also. If in that in case, then there's a willingness to spend a lot of money to maintain their hair and their appearances. This shows an acceptance or a sense of insecurity in the person that might creep in. Less style, short hair on the other hand, could mean very practical altogether. Probably you are not making much of an expenses in terms of money, but also in terms of your time that you go. It's practical to keep very hair short, and it is easy to comb and keep it up altogether. So you need to understand the first impression altogether. For men, what will happen? Professionally styled hair usually goes hand in hand with desire to show status and power. If combined with expensive clothing and accessories, these are usually sure bet. Most men do not have time to desire regularly have their hairstyle at a professional salon because it deviates from their norm. This is a good example to look something out of it. This is what I would keep on telling it to you. A person who is keeping his beard very thoroughly, impeccably trimmed, you need to keep understand either the person has to visit the salon or has to dedicate a lot of time and on his home front to maintain that look altogether. So probably he is investing a lot of time in terms of effort or money. Either way, now what does this gives me? It either tells that he values himself, he loves himself probably, or he is insecure that his impression may go wrong. As a result, every detail of the person appearance, some sort of clues regarding what, regarding their interest, regarding their belief, regarding their emotion, regarding their values. These are things that needs to be account for. Any traits that stands out from the baseline needs to be noted. The way the person is at home, the way the person is managing himself or herself, where she can be relaxed completely and feel at home, where not to impress with anybody else that comes around it. That being the baseline, and deviation from the baseline, how dramatic changes that the person incorporates of about. This is to be standing out as a whole when the norm is around. So with extreme in appearances, you might ask yourself, are they seeking attention? Are they trying to imitate someone or they look for, or are they being just being rebellious? They are self-centered or are insensitive people. This is what you need to understand. Apply something called a common sense. Be aware of things like physical characteristic, jewelry, makeup, clothing, accessory, hygiene, piercing, tattoos. Again, ask yourself, as in, what are these signals telling you? What is it telling? Let us go to the next, to the final fag end of the presentation that comes around it. Another 3-4 minutes that we have it. So the first step is learning how to read people, is gaining in a general understanding of the makeup of others and probably that of ourselves. Without the understanding of the walls people build around themselves, as well as the barrier that they put on the way, we will never be able to successfully read people. People are like onions. When it comes out revealing others, people are very much four layered. Absolutely, they have these layers all together within the ambit of their personalities. The more you want to take it out, the more it reveals altogether, and this is what we are looking into it. As in onions, the outermost layer is the part of a personality that we reveal to the strangers, who are much superficial in aspects than who we are actually. So we portray in somebody else skin altogether. We portray a projection which we are not actually, or in essence, we would like to portray that personality, that side of us, which the other people, when I say the other people, the stranger would appreciate. So around the outermost layer of the personality is revealed to the stranger. Remember, this is what we are talking about it. Around the friends and some of the acquaintances, we feel comfortable to peel back to the outermost layer to reveal the next one. It is among the friends. Still, we have not opened up yourself. Remember, the third layer is for those people who have absolute intimate relationship. It is with my family that I'm talking about it. It is a time to take time to develop, with whom I've spent my whole lifetime, where trust has been earned altogether. And the fourth, did I say fourth? Yes, the fourth and the innermost layer contain that part of ourselves which we do not share with anyone. It is exclusively our private matter, our deepest of thoughts, our deepest of desire, the secret that we would rather not even acknowledge in front of other people, that is coming across it. It is the hidden self that we keep to ourselves altogether. To what extent can you read somebody is determined by how many of their layers you are able to get revealed to. A person will reveal their layers directly in proportional that you are going to reveal about yourself. If you utter everything about yourself, the other person is motivated to say something more about themselves and reveal a part. Remember, the key to effective reading people is by completely being objective, overcoming our biasness, prejudices, projection, allowing us to be completely being objective. The last important step is to be patient and resist our urge from jumping into conclusion. This, you need to understand, reading people is an art form that takes years to master. It is an art form, essentially an art form. It is always a practice, it is always dynamic, it is always changing, and it takes years to be a master of this particular art. With this, I come to an end of this presentation. Thank you for watching this video.